with Pepperland. Tony, how you doing?
Hi, Drea. How are you, dear?
I'm very good.
It's wonderful to see you. I'm glad you're back from your trip safely.
Oh, we had a blast, too.
I know you did.
Blow out tire on the side of the highway and all.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
You gotta laugh, you know. It's like we were talking about it while we were sitting there waiting for the AAA to come get us. And the thing is, you can get all pissed off. Well, what does that fix? Nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, get out the lawn chairs, call the tow truck, and,
Yep.
you know.
No matter where you are, there you are. So just make the best of it.
Exactly, you know.
Yeah.
Worst came to worst, you know. Well, we got cell phones. We know how to make phone calls, and
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
It's not like it used to be when you take a road trip and there was no such thing as a cell phone, or you had a map if you were lucky.
hey, if you were real lucky, you had a trip tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, Pepperland has got a gig this Friday night.
We sure do. We're at the old Rock House Friday night. First set starts at 8 p.m. And one cool thing about it is we just recently in rehearsals learned a bunch of new, to us, George Harrison songs.
Ooh.
So yeah, for a while we've been working towards, so that way when we do our sets, you know, a lot of bands who play all Beatles, it's primarily John and Paul, but you know, we really want to make it George equal, give him equal billing that he's always deserved. So yeah,
Yes.
we worked up a bunch of new George stuff, and something he did with Traveling Wilburys with Dylan and Petty and Orbison, and
Oh, how
yeah,
fun.
so yeah, it should be pretty cool.
So gets underway. Music starts at 8.
8 p.m.
All right,
We're doing
that's Friday night at the old Rock House with Pepperland.
That is correct. We do an early set from 8 till around 9, and then about 9:30 or so we do the late set where we bring out the psychedelic stuff and maybe get a little blue. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're going to do a song or two for us today here in the air room?
Yeah.
We're not doing anything real fancy here, folks. These folks are Pepperland. Tell us who else in the band here.
Well, in the band, in the studio with us now, you guys can say hi, fellas. We have Steve Johnston on guitar.
Hello there.
And we have Carl Dodson on guitar.
Hello there, everybody.
We also have, we're a 6-piece band. We also have a gal on the band, Carrie Liston. And she's
her?
from the Bottoms Up Blues gang.
You must be desperate.
Yeah, we are. And then we have
Desperate for a great vocalist.
yeah. And then we have Donnie Inman on bass and Tim Larimore on keyboards.
All right.
Yeah.
So what song are you going to do for us right now?
Well, since we've been talking about George, we'll do something from George. From Let It Be.
Fun. All right. Pepperland live in the air room studio, not in the fancy studios. We're just doing this down home, acoustic.
Woohoo!
Very good.
Thank you. You're very kind, Andrea. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. We have Pepperland live in the Kdhx studios this afternoon. So, okay, so how long have you been together?
Since 1996.
96?
Yeah. 1996, we got our start in Old Town, St. Charles, just a block or two off of Main Street there in a 200-year-old house. And it was, a funny thing was that the very first time I ever tried to pitch Pepperland to anybody, I walked down to Main Street in Old Town. And a guy was in there. It was during the daytime. They weren't open yet. The guy was in wiping down the bar. I walked in. He never looked up one time. And I said, hey, I'd like to talk to someone about potentially live music here at your place, you know. And he said, he's like, yeah, that would be me. Still not looking up, wiping down the counter. Kind of a gruff-looking sort of guy. And I said, we're starting this band called Pepperland. We play all Beatles, and we'd love to come here. We're local. We'd love to come in your place. Without looking up, he's like, let me stop you right there. He's still wiping down the counter. He says, never liked the Beatles. I think the Beatles are the most overrated band in the world, and I don't want to hear them in my venue for a whole night.
Okay.
And that awkward silence was exactly what it was like. And I just was like, and it was my first time of pitching the band ever to anybody. But you know, I mean, it was kind of a slam a little bit, but then I stepped out on the front porch and took a deep breath. I'm like, no, man, I think we're onto something here. I'm going to go to the bar up the street. And sure enough, they hired us. And we became regulars and packed the place every time we played there. 1996. Yeah.
96. All right. So, what kind of just brought the idea of doing Beatles together?
Well, what it was is our original guitar player needed a place to stay. He was couch surfing, so he stayed with me for a little while in '96, in the fall of '96. And he brought with him a chessboard and chess pieces and a stack of Beatles albums. And we sat around, and we were a couple unemployed musicians at the time, and played a lot of chess and listened to a lot of Beatles. And especially, in particular, some of the stuff I'd never heard before, because I was never a really huge Beatles fan. But I always liked the Beatles, but I didn't have an older sibling, or my parents weren't into the Beatles, so nobody influential on me was into the Beatles. So somehow it kind of missed me. You know, actually, Wings was my introduction to that.
Yeah.
You know, I was a Wings fan first, but. And so this buddy of mine, guitar player, needed a place to crash, so he crashed with me on my floor for a couple, 2 or 3 months, and we listened to a lot of Beatles, and I really liked a lot of the B-side stuff that I'd heard. Like, I'd never heard Cry Baby Cry, or Everybody's Got Something Nice for Me and My Monkey, or some of those songs I just never heard until I was a little older, you know, and I was really turned on. So, neither one of us were in a band at the time, and we actually were down at the old Mississippi Nights, watching old friends of mine, the Schwag, and they were playing, and all the hippies were twirling around and getting into the Grateful Dead, and they were doing all Grateful Dead, and me and my friend who was staying with me, Larry, we looked at each other, we're like, hey, you know, nobody's doing the Beatles in this town, so maybe we should make a call or two, and which we did, and that was basically the beginning of it. So yeah, so Jimmy Tebow, there's a plug for you, buddy.
Good one. So that goes back to 96, 22 years, almost 23, I guess. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And you play a couple of gigs a year down at the old Rock House.
Yeah, maybe once or twice a year. We didn't play there for a couple of years. Don't know why, really, just kind of the way it worked out, you know. But yeah, it's a lot of the Mississippi Nights crew from back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
Yeah.
Great crew down there. Wonderful people to work with.
Yeah, it really is. And just great production, great room, great. The upstairs has the cool lounge with the leather.
Yes.
You know, and it's just lit really cool. And so, yeah, great place for a show.
And the staff has the right attitude, because you can have the greatest club in the world. If you haven't got good staff to make the vibe, the tone for the place.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. So hats off to all the fine folks down at Old Rock House.
No doubt. Mm-hmm.
So you gonna do another one for us?
Yeah, we'll stick with the George thing, and we'll do a little bit
excited.
of Here Comes the Sun.
Pepperland live on Kdhx. That was beautiful. I love the harmonies. You got that.
What a great song.
Oh, absolutely.
Carl and Steve, two really, really good guitar players. These two together, just amazing.
You can tell that they have the
They've got that
music
vibe,
is magic to me, and it's like two musicians playing together. It's like they're talking this language to each other. I don't know the words or the language itself. I understand the music, and so to watch two guitar players sit there and play like that is a treat.
Yeah. It takes you have to be a very giving player to be a guitar player, to play with another guitar player.
Absolutely.
You have to give them space. You have to, because music, it's just, when musicians are playing, it's exactly like, it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it, just like you and I are having this conversation right now, whenever there's a little bit of a lull in the conversation, or whatever, you'll say,
Yeah.
and I'll wait for you to talk. Right? And just go back and say, it's the exact same thing. So, and, so yeah.
Musicians speak a language I don't speak. I mean, I really, I know when to clap, and that's, musicians still need me, you need an audience.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have a good ear for it. That's about as far as it goes. Well, kind of running out of time, because I've got some announcements to play here, but one more time, Pepperland.
This Friday night, February 22nd, Old Rock House, 8 p.m.
8 p.m., all right. And nobody else is on the bill, just y'all?
Nope, nobody, just an evening with, yep.
Super. Got any other gigs coming up past that, or?
Well, we're in Springfield, Missouri, the week after that.
Oh, yeah?
Springfield, Missouri at
Is it Riyadh?
Riyadh
Yeah.
in Springfield, Missouri. And then coming up over the next few months, we'll be at the Sheldon Concert Hall.
Really?
Later on in the spring, we'll be at the Sheldon.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
What a treat to play that place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's another amazing venue. Yeah.
Every musician I know locally that's like their pinnacle of I want to play the show.
It's like a religious experience. It's so amazing if you're standing in that theater when it's completely empty, and if you and I were having a conversation just like we are right now at this volume that we're at right now, you could hear from standing on the stage in that room. If someone was at the very top in the balcony, you could hear our conversation perfectly.
Like you were standing next to us.
Like
yes.
you were standing right next to us. Yes.
Traveling musicians that I've talked to that have played that room have just like, that was one of the neatest rooms I've ever played.
Yeah,
so.
and such a history.
Yeah.
Charlie Chaplin's been there, and Albert Einstein gave lectures there. Patsy Cline.
Oh, I know.
Just so many amazing.
And the thing is like we were just, traveling. We were down in New Orleans, and people were amazed. St. Louis has a music scene? I'm like, you have no idea. It's kind of like it's our secret here in this town. There's those of us that know about it, and those of us that don't.
Yeah.
Those of us that know about it get the benefit of it.
Yeah, well, we never had our Seattle moment or L.A. or New York moment or whatever. But yeah, you're
Nashville
right about
or
that.
New Orleans or Austin or Chicago.
Yeah,
everybody else is known for music, but not St. Louis.
There's so many good venues here too.
Oh,
That it's amazing. Yeah.
yes, it's we're truly a lucky city in that we have a very solid music scene 7 nights a week. I mean, it's not like,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday night you can find music. No, you can find great music in this town 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
Last night, I probably could have found 5-6 gigs to go to.
Yep.
And,
Every night.
Yeah, every night.
It's been that way forever.
Yeah, as long as I can remember,
I played down at BB's last night, and we had a great crowd down there.
Yeah, exactly.
On a Monday night.
Yeah.
People from all over the country.
Well, and BB's amongst blues people is very well known around the country. But, I bet you 10% of St. Louis doesn't even know what a great club that is.
BB's?
So, yes.
Yeah, Dave Weckel is coming to BB's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they get world-class music there. But then again, you can go see, what was it, a week ago, last Saturday night was, I think, Marquise Knox's birthday party down there. The kid's played all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's a local guy, I mean, to me, it's always amazing that you can go into a club, see musicians that travel the world and, play big venues outside of St. Louis, and then they come home and play in our home bars, That just makes me feel so good that, it's like they never forget the people that helped get them going.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I remember, used to go out and see Oliver Sane and, Benny Smith and, James Crutchfield. James Crutchfield, catch Henry Townsend or, you know, you'd be at a club somewhere and all of a sudden Johnny Johnson come in and sit in, you know, and you're just like going, whoa, it is a good town to live in.
It is that, no doubt.
Yeah.
And for a musician too, there's so many places to play. Like you said, every night of the week.
That's
And
right.
It's a healthy scene for sure.
You know, I have a very good friend who is a musician in an internationally touring band, and he says, you know, he says I could move to New Orleans and have a lot more, you know, name recognition, but I'd make less money than I do living here in St. Louis. Because in St. Louis, he says you can make a living as a musician. It's much harder to make a living as a musician in a city as New Orleans, just because there are so many. But the other thing is that they may love their musicians, they still don't pay them well. You know, and that's half the battle is getting people to understand is that you're not doing this because you love the music, but you do want to get paid.
Well, you know, at least here you do get paid, as opposed to the pay to play that you deal with in New York and LA.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
You know, it's the exact opposite. You go broke playing in LA really quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you so much. It's always good to see
Thanks
you,
for
Dre.
having us.
Oh, my pleasure.
You've been our friend for many, many years, and we really appreciate you. And KDHX as well. Best station in town.
Don't forget us next week during Pledge Drive.
Oh, you know it.
All right, we're going to get back to taking care of business, and I have a quick announcement here for you.